Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, we're going to be diving back into some XRP analysis, sharing with you guys where I think that we're going to be headed over the next week. A lot of the markets have been really outperforming, going past my biggest expectations, which is really exactly what we wanted to see for the utmost amount of profitability inside the market. We're also going to be diving back into the Bitcoin chart, analyzing a few different levels that I haven't shared with you guys yet, and really explaining how I think that Bitcoin is going to impact XRP and how we should expect to see a lot more upside potential coming over the next couple weeks. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server of over 21,000 members and growing. If you guys want to join the rest of my community, share your own thoughts on the market, there will be a link in the description to go ahead and do so. On top of that, if you're new, just getting in and you want some extra educational content, you guys can also download my free ebook and study guide that's going to teach you guys a lot of the more fundamental basics of trading crypto. So check it out. Links are provided for you in the description. And with all that being said, guys, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so to start off this video, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. We're going to summarize some thoughts here, and then we're actually going to dive into XRP, and I'm going to share with you guys how I think the two are actually correlated. Remember guys, I still am doing my discount on my video course signals and beginner course bundle, so if you guys want to get that for 50% off, links are also going to be provided for you in the description. Check that out. At the very least, you guys can go watch my free webinar, and that's going to be full of a lot of information on when it comes to taking profits, how I'm taking profits, and what I'm looking for when it comes to selling at the end of the year. That's free, not going to cost you anything, and it's going to help you guys out a lot. So check out the links in the description, and let's jump right into this today. As you guys can see, Bitcoin has had another bounce. It's looking very strong in the wake of things. I was expecting that we were going to see a pullback at this point, but we bounced right off of support. And so really the most bullish scenarios possible has played out for Bitcoin. And so this is a really good thing overall. You know, even though I haven't been able to deploy the bigger majority of my cash stack, at the end of the day, I'm still over 97% in the crypto markets. And so it really doesn't matter that much. I'm still very much just long holding majority spot. But it would be nice if we could get somewhat of a correction in here so we could jump back in with fresh positions. Really, the only thing I'm looking at is low leverage longs. For me personally, because I didn't buy and enter those low leverage longs down here, I have no intention of doing it at resistance. But something interesting has happened, and because we're actually starting to get this impulse, assuming that we continue to go up like it's showing us thus far, it's going to set the stage for a move up to this resistance up here. I think that this is now our next likely target when it comes to watching for what Bitcoin's going to do next. And that's taking us all the way up here to about, I'm just going to give you guys the range of 59,000 down to 55,000. This is really what I'm watching for our next target for Bitcoin to go up inside of this next move. And it's looking like this is going to be the next area of demand, because here's the thing, guys. We had our first area of demand here at about 48,000. And we've pretty much just maintained support above this. Yes, we're technically still below it, but consolidating right at a given level generally means that it's going to end up breaking upwards. And we've stayed at this level for a long time. That tells me that this isn't very much a strong resistance, and that there's enough buyers stepping into this market that we're going to see another impulse higher. And so this resistance here at about 48K isn't going to be one that I think is going to hold the price down. It's not going to suppress price. In fact, we're going to get one more impulse on the way up. And it looks to me like the next resistance is going to be from about 59,000 to 55,000. I do expect that once this breakout happens, we're going to get a quick move upwards to this level. Something like this, a big impulse. You know, we're going to see a lot of impulsing inside of Bitcoin where we could potentially see Bitcoin dominance start to make a little bit of a bounce here. We've seen altcoins massively outperform over the last couple weeks to month, and I do believe that once Bitcoin decides to break out, whether it's in this move here or whether it's when Bitcoin actually breaks the all-time high, we will expect to see a period of time where Bitcoin does outperform the alts in the short term. But when we looked at the FBTC pair, we know that the FBTC pair is very bullish. It's been through over 2.5 years worth of accumulation to start breaking out. And so now that we are gearing up for this final 5 wave of this entire bull run, you know, a couple different things can happen. We can see Bitcoin outperform for the short term when it first starts breaking out, when it first starts flipping this previous all-time high, or because this is the 5-wave, maybe we see altcoins consistently outperform Bitcoin as Bitcoin dominance continues to fall. Because something we talked about here in the last video was really just analyzing this Bitcoin dominance. And based off the Bitcoin dominance, this to me doesn't really look bullish no matter what way I try and look at it. This just looks like it's going to continue to trend lower. And so we could be in for a different part of the cycle that we're not accustomed to. Now, if we come back here to the last cycle, what I wanted to share with you guys here was this final rally up that we saw from 3K to 20K. Now, it was actually in this time where from the moment Bitcoin went from 3K to 20K, it pretty much suppressed the altcoins. The altcoins really didn't do that much inside of that cycle, where we're in this big fifth wave, and we would have expected to see altcoins massively outperform, right? Well, they really didn't. In fact, they didn't really do much while Bitcoin took off like this. By the time Bitcoin was at 20K, altcoins were just barely starting to really break out of their low-end cycles. And so it was literally at this point here where Bitcoin tops out. It makes its first lower high in the new bear trend. We'll make this red so it's easier to see. It was in the top and then the first lower high in the bear trend. And specifically at the very top of the lower high here, when Bitcoin went up to 17K, this is when altcoins had their final rallies in the cycle. And so kind of why I said that, maybe for this 4-year cycle, when we come to taking profits at the end of the year, something to pay attention of is the fact that altcoins, they didn't rally up and finish the tops of their move when Bitcoin topped at 20K. They actually finished the tops of their move at the first lower high of the new bear trend. And so altcoins made their final 5-wave here, and it was the first lower high. And so what I've kind of told you guys is we could very easily see altcoins end up lagging for about a month period of time, where we see Bitcoin really outperform, we see Bitcoin do really well. Bitcoin tops at wherever the top of this cycle is going to be, 150, 200, 250, 300K. We don't really know yet, but we could see Bitcoin make its first lower high in the new bear trend, and then at the top of that lower high, when it starts to go back up, everybody thinks that Bitcoin's going to keep going higher. That's when altcoins massively outperform, and then they top out in their cycles. The thing is, guys, we could see a number of these different scenarios play out. Maybe this cycle's different from the last cycle, like it has been thus far, and maybe that's not what happens. What if Bitcoin and the altcoins, because really, guys, the altcoin BTC pairs have pretty much underperformed this entire cycle. In the last cycle, they at least had a big rally inside of this 3-wave. When Bitcoin went for its 3-wave, which was really just this first move past the all-time highs, right here, this move here, a lot of the altcoin BTC pairs really outperformed Bitcoin. They made their first major impulse in that cycle. We have yet to see the altcoin BTC pairs do that. And it's taking us all the way to this final 5-wave in the cycle, and most of the Bitcoin pairs still haven't even pumped yet. And so this cycle has been very different. If you were trying to base every single thing based off of how the last cycle went, you would be screwed because nothing has really performed exactly as it did in the last cycle. This was wave 3. When Bitcoin went from, $3,800 all the way to 6,500 or 65,000, excuse me, this was wave 3, right? Most of the Bitcoin pairs didn't really do anything. Doge is really the outlier of this cycle somehow, right? Dogecoin is the only one that really made a big impulse inside of this 3-wave. And so we've seen the likes of XRP, even Ethereum. Ethereum has made an impulse, but it's still massively below its all-time high. And so inside of this 3-wave, we have yet to see the same type of move that happened in that last cycle. And if I really just take the time to zoom out here, let's go take a look at what I mean. Let's go take a look at ETH for the first example. And let's go to the Poloniex chart because this is going to have the most price history here for ETH. And let's just kind of talk about what I mean. Because at the end of the day, it's easy for me to explain what happened in the last cycle, but most of you guys weren't even here for the last cycle. So I'm going to go through here and really just share with you guys what I'm talking about. So if we come back here to the first cycle, let's share with you guys kind of what I meant here. So when it comes to the ETH BTC pairs, this was the all-time high right here at about $1,150. This breakout and then pullback was our first breakout into new price discovery, right? And so this is really where ETH BTC ended up topping. It topped about June of 2017, which was pretty much the very top of this move here. It pulled back, and then it made another impulse, Bitcoin did, and then ETH ended up having another lower low, and then we ended up making a lower high as the ETH or the BTC pair actually topped at 20K, right? All the way up here, we get our first lower high, And the top of that lower high was when we get a lower high inside of the ETH BTC pair. And so the majority of this entire impulse happened before Bitcoin had even topped. And so we've yet to see anything close to that, right? ETH BTC is just accumulating, and we just had our first breakout of this accumulation. And this is taking us into the final 5 wave of Bitcoin's impulse. And so already this cycle is massively different than what happened in the last one. And if we actually come over here and take a look at XRP, let's go take a look at XRP, and I'll share with you guys, another difference here. We can go back to the last cycle for XRP, and in fact, XRP is even older than Ethereum is. And so we can actually go and get a number of different analysis that we can actually pull conclusions from. So if we come over here, guys, XRP pumped and made this first big move here after the first breakout of the all-time high. When Bitcoin went into price discovery in that last cycle from, $1,000 to $3,000 and then that pullback, this is where we saw our first major alt season in the BTC pairs, right? This is not just the case for Ethereum. This isn't just the case for XRP. Every single altcoin in that last cycle had the first major alt run once Bitcoin flipped the all-time highs, right? This cycle's been different from that perspective, right? So we can see here this massive impulse. All of the altcoin Bitcoin pairs end up topping out when Bitcoin hits 3K. We pull back, Bitcoin makes another higher high, altcoin BTC pairs make a lower low, and then this is what takes us for our final 5 wave, right? 5 waves going. Keep in mind, guys, I'm going to draw a circle. This is when BTC was at 3K. This is when BTC was at 3K, right? And so ETH, and not only ETH, but XRP, all of these other cryptos, they made a lower low as Bitcoin went to 20,000. Pretty much they did nothing from the point where Bitcoin made its first higher high and into price discovery and then pulled back. That was the first alt season. Altcoins literally didn't do anything until all the way over here when BTC made its first lower high in the new bear trend, right? And so there is a massive difference here. And if you guys look at the chart, wherever I wave my mouse here, it's going to show you the same point here on the XRP chart. So this is the first lower high. That was the top of our next cycle high inside of XRP BTC, right? And so this has already been a massively different cycle. And when we take the time to really zoom out from where we're at today, let's zoom out and let's take this cycle where we're at right now. And let's just take a look at where we're at today for XRP. So we can see the XRP is yet to make any sort of big pump, right? This is our first higher high in the BTC chart. Now, we're getting up for wave 5, right? We've already known that. This was wave 1. This was wave 3, and we're getting ready for wave 5. Now, because this cycle is already massively different, what I expect to have happen by the end of the year is Bitcoin is going to go into its 5 wave, and altcoins are going to massively outperform Bitcoin. That's personally what I think. Where in the last cycle that didn't happen, in the last cycle Bitcoin was still pretty undervalued, right? The ROI was still pretty high for Bitcoin. And while the ROI is still really high today, it's nothing compared to what these altcoins are going to give us. Because at the end of the day, altcoins have been suppressed this entire cycle, right? Whereas altcoins kind of took off a little bit earlier in the last cycle for 2017. This cycle, it's been different. Most altcoins, there has been a lot of altcoins that have taken off, don't get me wrong, but most of those altcoins that took off were really low market caps from the beginning. The high cap cryptos haven't really done a whole lot this cycle. And that's why when I look at this chart, I see a chart that looks very undervalued, has set in our first impulse here. We've made our first higher high. And with Bitcoin going into wave 5 of this cycle, wave 5 is known to be the most parabolic. Wave 5 is known to be where all of the euphoria sets in, all of the delusion, all of these people are going to be jumping in, investing their entire houses, selling all their assets to go all in on crypto at the top. We've seen this before. And if you haven't seen this before, I have seen this. I watched the same thing happen back in 2017. In fact, I was one of those losers that went all in at the top. Now, I was already all in from the very beginning, and I just didn't know what I was doing from the very get-go, right? And so I didn't realize that the market would have this major bear market. I was just under the delusion it was going to go up forever. And this is the thing, guys. We're going to see the same thing happen once more. We're going to see Bitcoin go up so fast, almost no pullbacks at all, zero hesitation, and with all of this new money flooding in from famous people talking about it, news outlets covering it every single day, we're going to see a lot of new money flooding into this market. And when this happens, you're going to hear a lot of delusions. You're going to hear a lot of these stories of people going all in, betting everything that they have on crypto, and it's always going to happen right at the very top of the market before the crash. The smart money that accumulated all at these low points of the cycle, all of the people that shorted the top of Bitcoin at 20K when futures open, all of these people need exit liquidity. The only way they're going to get exit liquidity is by getting as many retail investors that don't know what they're doing to jump in with all of their money. And that's what we're going to see this time around. And so that's why I personally believe that this cycle will be different. What is going to happen at the end of this year and what is beginning right now, Bitcoin's going to rally up to, whatever it's going to top out at. My target's 250K, but that's obsolete. To close out the end of the year, we're going to get a massive 5 wave. When that happens, all of these BTC pairs are going to go completely insane. XRP is going to pull what a Doge did, and when Doge really just took off like crazy. XRP, BTC, Ethereum, BTC, all of these BTC pairs are going to do the exact same thing. We're going to see a massive outperformance in altcoins to close out the cycle, because you guys got to think about it from a retail investor's perspective. If I'm a retail investor, which I am, I just happen to understand what it takes to be profitable, right? I'm a retail investor. If you're watching this channel, you're a retail investor. We are all retail investors. But you guys got to remember that we've at least been here for a little while. We've at least educated ourselves enough to understand what's going on, big picture. But most of these people that are going to be getting in over the next 4 months have no idea what they're doing. My uncle that just migrated from having a flip phone his whole life just went all in on crypto because I said that I think it's a good opportunity. He saw how well my dad has been doing. Keep in mind, my dad's been in here since 2017. He's seen how well I've been doing. He's heard my other uncles that got in, fairly early, not big investments, but they did get in fairly early and made some profit. He's seen how well they're doing, and he felt FOMO. And he literally invested all of his profit of his entire life working. He invested into crypto. He went all in, and I was helping him with his crypto accounts. And he had this one account with a lot of money, and I was like, man, you really put more in than I thought you would. And he's like, well, I have another account with more in it. And I was like, what? I didn't realize you went so heavy into it. And he's like, I went all in off you, Don. I trusted you. And so these are the things that are happening, guys. People have seen us make a lot of money. People are seeing other people make a lot of money off NFTs. All of this stuff that really makes no sense. Why is people buying JPEGs for millions of dollars? Well, this is euphoria. None of it makes sense. And this is where you start getting trapped into the psychological beliefs. And you guys got to keep in mind that from a retail investor's perspective, why would you buy a $50,000 Bitcoin or a $100,000 Bitcoin or whatever it is? Why would you buy that expensive of a Bitcoin when you can buy XRP for a couple bucks, or you can buy all of these other altcoins for fractions of a dollar, right? There's so many different opportunities. And when a retail investor starts thinking, they don't understand how token supply works. They don't realize that the more tokens, the lower the price is going to be, and the more money has to go into that market for the price to rise in the first place. They don't understand all of those little mechanics that go and dictate price. They see Bitcoin at $50,000 and they think, oh my gosh, XRP, I'm going all in on this because this is going to do what Bitcoin did. Even though it won't do what Bitcoin did, it'll go up a lot, but the tokenomics are completely different, right, guys? These are things that we need to understand. And this is why I believe that we're getting ready for the biggest altcoin cycle in the history of cryptocurrency. This cycle is already completely different from the last cycle. There's been, some similarities based off of maybe the Elliott wave structure, maybe some of the structure on the logarithmic timeframes. But when it comes to the BTC altcoin pairs, they're completely different. We have yet to see an altcoin cycle besides maybe Dogecoin and maybe some of the outliers in DeFi, right? We have yet to see the majority of all of the markets just go up in euphoria, specifically outperforming Bitcoin. And what we can see here based off of these charts is that exact thing playing out. And so I really do believe that we're getting ready for the biggest altcoin cycle, and it's going to be happening inside of this wave 5 structure. Remember what I shared with you guys with the gold chart, right? This was the final impulse inside of gold, and we can go all the way back to this last cycle. This was wave 5. Remember, gold had its wave 1, we had wave 3 and 4, and then this was wave 5 for that gold cycle. This is literally where we're at today for Bitcoin, guys. It's very, very important that you understand this and that you recognize it early on, because this is what is gearing up for the entire cycle of Bitcoin. A lot of people are going to underestimate the power of a final 5 wave in this cycle. And the fact of the matter is, Bitcoin's already super expensive. Retail investors that are just barely getting in, they don't care about Bitcoin. They know that Bitcoin's gains are much smaller than the altcoins. They've seen how well Doge has performed. And because of that, they're not looking for Bitcoin gains. They're literally looking for altcoins. And that's why I believe, since these BTC pairs have yet to really pump yet, That's why we're going to see them really start to take off to something that we have yet to see before. We have yet to see that inside of this cycle where the BTC pairs just massively outperform, right? We have yet to see that so far. But when we take the time to really just analyze the similarities between this cycle in Bitcoin and this cycle for gold, you guys are it's pretty obvious for me to tell anyways, that this is what is literally about to be happening for the BTC pair. Or this is literally what's about to happen for Bitcoin, right? We're going to be seeing Bitcoin at, $5 to $10 trillion in market cap. That's my personal guesstimation. And it looks so much alike with what we saw here with gold back in the 1970s, right? Bitcoin and gold both made this massive 3-wave into price discovery. They pulled back, and then this is what took us for that final 5-wave in the cycle. Because of the fact Bitcoin is gearing up for this final 5-wave, and we look at these BTC pairs, specifically being XRP, and they're still very much low in their cycles, we are about to see all of these altcoin BTC pairs take off and outperform in this final 5-wave. We've yet to see a massive outperformance inside of the majority of the altcoins, which a lot of you guys will say, well, what about Aave? Well, what about this? And what about that? They've outperformed their Bitcoin ratios. Well, you were right about that, but every single cycle there's outliers. These outliers start at a low market cap and they really start to outperform and become high cap cryptos. Of course they're going to outperform their Bitcoin pairs. But what we're talking about here is maximum euphoria. What we're talking about here is when all of the altcoins go up together in tandem and all of them outperform Bitcoin at the same time. This is something that we haven't seen yet. This is something we did see in the last cycle. We saw it twice. Not all of them outperformed in the 5-wave. Most of them made lower highs. Very select few ended up topping out close to those previous highs. We saw altcoins have that massive run at about spring to early summer of 2017. Everything crashed. Bitcoin went to 20,000. Once Bitcoin crashed from 20,000, we saw the next big impulse in the altcoins, and that was how the last cycle looked. This cycle's already been massively different. We've yet to see a massive outperformance in those BTC pairs. This is where I think that we're going to be getting it, is the final wave 5 of this cycle. When all of the maximum euphoria sets in, when BTC's price does something like this and just defies everybody's wildest expectations, this is where we're going to get that massive outperformance. And so I'm really excited about this, guys. I wanted to share with you guys this specific chart, analyzing XRP BTC, as just a way to kind of analyze where I think that we're going to be headed, why I think that we've massively underperformed, and how this is different from the last cycle. But I wanted to really wrap all of that up with the conclusion that we are going to see a maximum euphoria event with these altcoin BTC pairs. We're going to see them take off to the likes that we have yet to see up to this point. And it's going to be a very profitable time. And so we need to be ready for this. We need to understand that HODL mode should be the only focus right now. None of this is going to make sense over the next couple months. There's going to be so much euphoria, so much greed, so much delusion in the market that if you try and focus on what everybody else is saying, you're simply just going to end up costing yourself all of your profit. We are about to make life-changing money. Most of you guys already have. Most of the people that have already made life-changing money are going to watch it compound over the next 4 months into pretty much just ungodly amounts. The type of money where you can literally do anything that you want inside of your life and do all the things that you never thought possible. This is literally what is going to be happening, and you really need to focus on long-term holding. Don't get worried. Don't get over trading. Don't lose all of your profit. Don't lose all of your portfolio before this happens, because once this happens, it's going to happen. It's going to completely defy all of your guys' expectations, and you're going to make more money than you ever thought possible. And I look forward to seeing that happen. I watched it happen in the last cycle. This cycle's been different, so I wanted to analyze kind of why I think it's different, what's going to happen because it's different, and this is kind of my thoughts and perspective. So if you guys found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. Join the Discord server, download my free ebook. Links are in the description below. If you guys would like to join my video course, signals, and beginner course, you guys can actually purchase all of that in one bundle at 50% discount off my normal price. If you guys really just want to see what I'm doing with my money, how I'm going to be taking profits at the end of the year, all of the new altcoin signals that we've been nailing in the Discord, all of that's going to be provided for you if you guys check that out and join the VIP. So get in there. Lots of value to be provided. Lots of cool stuff going to be happening at the end of the year, and I look forward to seeing you guys inside of that group. Thank you all so much for the support, and with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.